In this lecture, I will show you how to start building menus. Now, if you're not sure what a menu is, let me explain you. Whenever you play a game, there's always a button that says play or pause or go to the main menu or the settings and so on. This is called a user interface or a heads-on display. And we, inside of Unity, can also build that. And the way to do this is to go to Game Object inside of the menu, then go to UI. UI stands for User Interface. And then go to Canvas. Now, Canvas is what gets all the other types of objects. You cannot start adding any others if you're not on a canvas. I mean, you can, but it's not advised because the canvas is the one that helps you move and locate things around and have it work on all different screens. Now, why is it that important? Well, because if you're on a TV, then obviously you have more screen space than if you're on a small iPhone or a small Android phone, right? So that's why you want to have a canvas. So again, I repeat, Game Object, UI, Canvas. And inside of a canvas, your next step is to have different menus. So you may have a menu for the game over, a menu for start the game, a menu for the settings. So this may be multiple panels. And again, I just said panel. So go to Game Object, UI, and create a panel. And the panel, put it inside of the canvas. It should already be there. And just name it this one, panel main menu. Once we have that, now you may think that there's nothing happening here, right? But check this out. If I remove the panel main menu, you guys see that the color of the screen changes. Why? Because right now the main menu takes 100% of the screen and it's covering the game. And sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. And if you don't, let me show you how to fix that. You can always go to the panel main menu, go to the inspector, and here you can select if you want a specific size. So I'm going to click on the center, and I'm not going to stretch it because by default they stretch. I'm going to click on the Alt key down, select the center, and the Shift key down and select the center. Now that I've done this, I can actually specify a width and a height. And right now it's the width of the whole screen. I don't want this. I'm going to go with a width of 500 and a height of 600. All right, and this is the menu. Cool. Now that you've seen that menu, well, guess what? We need to interact with it. And if you want to interact, you probably want to add text and buttons. So let's quickly add text to this. Again, very simple. Make sure you select the panel main menu, go to Game Object, UI, and add some text. Right? So as soon as you do this, the text appears. It's pretty small. So let's go to the inspector and work on the text and say main menu instead of new text. So just click on the text script and enter that. Then select the font size. Increase this to, let's say, 40 instead of 14. All right, so as soon as you do this, guess what? The text has disappeared. So you may be wondering what happened. Well, by default, the text has a width of 160 and a height of 30. So it's very small by default, and many students make this mistake. And what you need to do is increase the width and the height. So let's go with a width of 250 and a height of 100. And guess what? We see the main menu again. Now, what if you wanted the word main menu all the way to the top? Well, you have to change its position. Click on the chart diagram and select the top center. That's top and center. And then that would go right there. Cool. And it did not change, right? The next thing you need to do is click on the Shift key down and do top left and then the Alt or Option key and top left. Why? Because you guys see that the main menu is all the way to the top now, because it's not just the position that we need to change, it's also the anchoring. So whenever you press Alt, it changes the pivot. Look, you can set the pivot and it says Shift for the pivot and Alt for the position. So make sure you click on Alt for the position, and the pivot needs to be I mean, we're not going to be rotating it, but still, it's always good to have the pivot where the position is set as well. All right, now, if somehow you think it's way too close, the main menu over there, guess what you can do? You can change the position on the Y as well. All right, so you can put the Y a bit more down, and that will take care of it. All right, so let's say a Y of minus 180, so that would go down. All right, now, the next step. Right now, you may think that how come the main menu button went did not stay inside of the panel? Why did it go outside of it? Well, the reason why it went outside is that there is something else we haven't learned yet, which is called the grid layout. So if you want to fix this, you will need a grid layout. I'm not going to go into too many details because it's a lot of information, but know that inside of the panel you can add a grid layout. So select the panel and click on Add Component and just type Layout. Now there are many different types of layout, horizontal, or vertical, or grid. Let's go with a vertical where everything gets stacked on top of each other. Alright, and let's put a spacing of 10. Alright, and do not force the height on the child. So anything that goes inside, do not force the height. Alright, now if you take the text and put it inside of it, it will change position. Look, it's thinking and it put the text in the top left. Now if you want the text to go in the center, select the text and do the alignment center and the alignment horizontal to the center as well. And there we go, we have it inside, and as you can see, the position X and Y, we cannot move it. Earlier we did change it, right? And same thing for the width and height. Why can't we change it now inside for the text? Because it's taken care of from the panel main menu. So the panel main menu layout dictates what happens here. Now the beauty of doing this is that I can easily add the button now. And if I add the button, it's going to be at the right spot. So select the panel main menu, and to add the button under the panel main menu, right click and then click on UI and then button. And there we go. Now we see the button here, put it inside, just make sure it's inside, and we see the button right there. Now the reason why the button is so small and we don't see it is that we need to say that these are layout elements. How do you do this? Well, this is a layout, so these need to say specifically that, hey, these belong to the layout. So select the button, and inside of it, click on Add Component and look for Layout Element. So that would say that this is part of the layout group. Alright, now the next step is also to select the text and do the same. So selecting the text, Add Component, and select Layout Element. Now we want the button to be a bit more down, so select the button and go below the text, or select the text and put it above the button. Alright, once you do this, you see the button here. Now the button doesn't have much, right? So you need some text inside of it. So it does have text, but we also need to change its height. And how do we do this? Well, we need to add a minimum height to the object. So select the panel main menu, and then when you go to the padding, you can also select a minimum height. Now click on height here, and as soon as you do this, this shares the main menu and the button height. So if that's something that you want, then that's perfect. Go ahead, and you can also add one more. But if that's not something that you want, you're going to have to add a minimum height on the button. And let me remove the automatic height, select the button, and now that the button is selected, we're going to work on adding a specific height.